ask them to come up. Today we're excited about extending Mr. Kemper's vision and expanding it with our vertical neighborhood, which we believe is a unique live, learn, work, play environment connected with the rest of the city through this magnificent technology and the sidewalk system and the skywalk system currently in place.
The streetcar was major in the selection of this property. Pretty much any cool city you find around the country has some kind of form of that transit available. And when we heard about the new streetcar line, I started driving Main Street looking for buildings and found this one and called my partner and said, "How big is too big?" And I don't know if he found out how big it's too big, but this one seemed to work out just fine. It's a very unique building. It's historic. It kind of pushes back on the preconceived notion of what is historic. Not everything is bricks and mortar. Sometimes it's spandrel glass and stainless steel. The timing of everything that's happening here in Kansas City couldn't be better. The best idea can kind of go missed if it doesn't have the best timing to back it up. And everything right now with the city support, everything that's happening in the community and the streetcar, the timing in Kansas City could not be better. The project overview of this, for you, those who are not familiar with it, is a new model of urban living that's based around not only residential units with superior amenities, but educational services that sometimes are lacking in the inner city. Employment, we'll have over 200 people who come to this building to work on a day-to-day basis. We'll have over 400 students, from children to men, women of all ages, seeking some form of education, whether it be higher or early childhood. We've got interactive workspace where people can live here, work here, their kids can go to school here, with green space and services, trying to think about kind of a more global living experience. I'll live in this building with my family when it's completed.
What I wanted to do is simply say this is a great week in Kansas City, specifically for downtown, a celebration for what is happening along the 2-mile KC streetcar starter line, and I can't think of a better project to kick off the celebration. The Commerce Tower project perfectly sums up the type of development our city is ripe for. We've used a lot of numbers in our case for why the streetcar would be transformational for our city. Right now I want to focus on two numbers, 139 and 1.7. This project behind me is a $139 million investment in our city's future. As Bob said, and he has gift for words, a vertical neighborhood. That's what we need downtown to be more of, a vertical neighborhood in that context. Just like we rebuild Beacon Hill, just like we rebuild Columbus Park, the concept of going vertical and building neighborhoods within components of downtown is a way to vision where we're going as a city as we move forward. This building, which is going to practice a lot of sustainability issues, will be a standard for urban design using best practices and sustainable principles, is also right next door to, we think, the preeminent 2.2-mile smart city anywhere in the world. And you see the downtown kiosks that are being installed this morning and will be hooked up and going live, but there's brand new lighting, new cameras. This is how city governments, this is how cities of the future will operate it, and you're seeing it right here in front of you on Main Street in Kansas City, Missouri. So we think this is a great partnership between 22nd century living and 22nd century building design, putting old buildings into retroactive and reapplication to new uses for the 22nd century, and you take what used to be 1864 sewer lines and 1874 water lines and have rebuilt them for the 22nd century. So this is a good partnership all around of how these cities come together. And then I want to, I mentioned the $139 million and how transformative it is in this conversation. I also want to point out that conversation of the 1.7, and that's $1.7 billion in economic development that has happened as a result of this streetcar project.
If you're considering developing a 355-unit housing development, which this vertical neighborhood includes, you have to understand that HUD is a critical partner in that teamwork. And we are delighted that Fannie Woods, Director of Labor Standards for HUD, could be here this morning to share some observations from HUD's point of view.
When HUD does this, we do it through our Federal Housing Administration, better known as FHA. And we do it as a mortgage insurance guarantee. So when City Manager Schultz said that this was a $139 million development here, I want you to know that HUD through FHA made that loan possible by insuring 67% of that $139 million. Well, you know, HUD is all into sustainable communities and the principal components. So the Commerce Tower project is the country's first redevelopment project of this magnitude that is in the HUD Green Initiative program. I really think we need to give the developers a, big hand, because that's pretty big here. And so when you think about sustainable neighborhoods, and you heard City Manager talk about that, and we're talking about vertical, we really have 4 principles from the federal level. First principle is housing. Housing as the platform, and what can housing do? Next, we talk about environmental. This building will be what we call a leadership in energy and environmental design. So you say, Fannie, what is that? Well, it's a certified building where they will use less water and energy and reduce greenhouse gas emission. And overall, I think you're going to save money by making this a green initiative. And number 3, when you talk about the sustainable neighborhoods and what the principles are, you have to bring in transportation. And the streetcar with a stop here, I mean, that's just really great. And then with any neighborhood that is considered sustainable, we have to make it livable, walkable, and we have to bring in some components that everybody wants. So with the new child care center that's going to be here, with Park University coming over here, with the commercial space, and then with all of the great apartments, this is going to be a fabulous project.
And thanks again to everyone who contributed to making this day possible. And thanks to all of you for coming out on this brisk morning and checking out the streetcar. Please stay tuned. Check our website out. We will be making announcements about the availability of the housing and the schools and other services that will be found in Commerce Tower. And we'll have another celebration later in the year that will include your access to that housing, to the schools, to the food that will be available here at Commerce. And stay tuned for that. We hope to see you back then.